Fine. So we have seen these are the steps for lifting of material, like taking one step forward towards the movement or the direction which you are lifting or carrying the load. And second one, take a good grip by using the palm. Then back we have to keep it straight. Then keep the load close to the body. Then always we try to keep our back straight, not necessarily vertical. Then keep the head in a correct position. It is always necessary to keep the center of gravity of the load near to the positive. Okay, these are the steps we have to follow for an effective lifting to avoid the injuries. Okay, this is a pictorial representation. Now we'll see difference, wrong and right. This is the wrong posture, and this is the right posture of lifting. And which is a wrong lifting, ఇది వచ్చేసి right lifting. వీటనేది ఎలా lift చేయాలి. So if it is there, store heavy objects at the upper level and light objects at the lower level. Is it a right statement or wrong statement? You can unmute it now. Store the heavy materials, objects at upper level, lighter objects at lower level. Here, thing is, this statement is correct only, but with a condition when it is correct. So if the company or the facility is not having any machinery, for example, if at all you are keeping the heavy object in bottom, it is difficult for an employee to keep inside the such a heavy material. If you see this fellow, he has put smaller objects in the bottom, heavy objects in the middle, so that what will happen, he can able to keep the material with the easy access, need not to put any excess or extra effort on keeping the material inside the rack. Okay, whenever or wherever there is an equipments to handle the materials, there always the heavy objects should be in bottom, lighter objects should be in the top. Now you'll see the feet should be placed close to the load and also properly spaced for the body balance. These are the other precautions to be followed for proper lifting. We should have proper space between the two legs for the proper balance. Then back straight and nearly vertical as possible. Elbows are straight as possible. Knees bent until the hands reaches to the proper place of gripping on the load. So knees has to be bent until the hands reaches to the by getting the proper grip on the load, and grasp the load firmly. Lift should be completed by the straightening the knees. This is very important. The lift or the lifting of the metal has to be completed by a straightening of the knees, keeping the load close to the body. So if you see straightening of the knees, we see the picture. So this is how he has bent his knees while getting the proper grip of the material. Then slowly started lifting. then he has straightened the knees by complete lifting. We have to complete the lift by the straightening of the knees. While putting down the load, the above procedure should be reversed. So while lifting, we have to follow a reverse mechanism. Then bending up to the ground level should be avoided. Support at a hip level 3 to 4 feet is necessary. So bending so long, for example, how he is keeping back the material or like this to the bottom is a risky factor for the material unloading. So this is the safe posture or safe height for the unloading of materials. Now we'll see what are the safety precautions while manual handling of machines. A movement should be in a horizontal plane. Push and pull is preferable than lift or lower. Before lifting, the distance to be traveled and also the time of the grip should be considered. For example, if it is in a horizontal plane, no elevation, in the same floor level, you have to shift the material from one place to other place. In that case, the push and pull is preferred instead of lifting and lowering. Or instead of lifting and taking one place to other place, I'll use a trolley. I'll keep all the material on the trolley and I'll push or pull. I will not lift or lower. And before lifting, the distance to be traveled. What is the distance you are traveling? And time of the grip should be considered. So how much time you should keep the load on your hands? This has to be considered. Lifting and lowering should be between the knuckles or hip height and also shoulder height. Should be close to and also in front of the body. Bending or twisting of the body causes over exertion injuries. So bending and twisting, what will happen? Over exertion. It is a damage, irreversible damage going to happen. And shoulder height. This is your safest height for the lifting or shifting of or lowering of material. And material should be light, compact, and also safe to grasp. And it should not have sharp edges, corners, or any pinch points. So whatever the material we are lifting, it should be compact in the sense less weight in size and small in size to handle and able to have a good grip or grab the weight. Then it should not have any sharp edges or any corners or pinch points. In the sense, sharp edges will have a chance to cut injuries. And materials from a bin or a container should be easily removable, and the operator need not to dive into the container to reach the materials. It is about the bins. Some of the companies, they have a bigger bins. The bin height is almost or 4.5 feet or 5 feet. Your voice is not audible. What about others?
Audible, sir.
Okay, fine. Redmi Note 9, I'm sorry, your name is mentioned as Redmi Note 9. Please rejoin. Okay. So if you see the bin size, it is around 4.5 feet. If the material is here, so in case of any 5 feet fellow, what he has to do? He has to dive into the material and he has to get the out of the bin. So it should not be. There will be a chance of he may fall into the bin also. So the operator need not to dive into the containers to reach the material. The containers and chemicals should be properly closed. So we have to make bins in such a way that it is small in size. An operator can easily take the material out from the containers. And also, if it is a chemical containers, those lids, which means the caps of the chemical containers, has to be closed properly. Then if the load is too heavy, use mechanical lifting. If it is in a heavy load, don't do manual, use mechanical devices or to take the help of somebody. And get the load close to the body and also feet also close to the body. Stand in a stable position with the feet pointing in the direction of the movement. This is also same point. We should be in a same position with a proper grip and also towards the direction, in which direction you are going to move. And lift mostly by straightening the legs or knees. We should not lift the load by back. We should always lift the weight by straightening the legs or knees. Temperature of the material, floor and also work area should be comfortable and the floor should not be slippery. So the temperature of the material, floor or the work area should be comfortable and also the floor should not be in a slippery condition. And use proper hand, eye and also leg protection and respiratory if necessary. Excuse me. Okay, fine. Use proper hand, eye and also leg protection and respiratory if necessary. So ఎప్పుడైతే మనకు అవసరం పడితే చేతికి సంబంధించిన వ్యక్తిగత భద్రతా పరికరాలు అవన్నీ యూజ్ చేయాలి. ఆర్ రెస్పిరేటరీ ఇన్ కేస్ ఆఫ్ మాస్క్ రిక్వైర్డ్ ఆల్సో. ఎప్పుడైతే మనకి ఏదైనా కెమికల్ కానీ డస్ట్ తో కూడుకున్న వస్తువులను మనము లిఫ్ట్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు మనము రెస్పిరేటరీ సిస్టమ్ కూడా యూజ్ చేయాలంటే మాస్క్ లోనే పెట్టుకోవాలి. Keep the hands free from oil and grease and clean the material if it is slippery or dirty. So we have to keep the material, whatever the material you are lifting, it should be free from oil so that we can have a good grip. Don't lift or lower the awkwardly or twisting the back or bending sideways or any extending the arms, and don't continue if the load is too heavy. So do not lift or lower awkwardly. Awkwardly అంటే ఏంటంటే ఎట్లా పడితే అట్లా వితౌట్ ప్రాపర్ పొజిషన్, అంటే ఎట్లా పడితే అట్లా బరువులు ఎత్తడము దింపడం. ట్విస్టింగ్ ద బ్యాక్ ఆర్ బెండింగ్ సైడ్ వేస్ అంటే ప్రతిసారి బరువులు లిఫ్ట్ చేసుకొని బ్యాక్ ని ట్విస్ట్ చేయడం, అంటే నడుము ట్విస్ట్ చేయడము, లేదంటే ఒక సైడ్ కి వంగి పెట్టాల్సి వచ్చినా, లేదంటే ఒక సైడ్ కి వంగి మనము బరువులు తీసుకోవాల్సి వచ్చినా ఆ పని మనం కంటిన్యూ చేయకూడదు. And do not continue if the load is too heavy. If it is the weight is very high, ఎక్కువైతే మనకి ఎక్కువ బరువులు ఉంటాయో అలాంటప్పుడు we should not continue that activity. We should take a proper breaks to avoid the injuries. Now we'll see some of the lifting and carrying different objects like boxes and cartoons. Okay, almost attepetlu cardboard boxes. Grasp them at the opposite side top and also the bottom corners. Draw the corner between the legs. So we used to have opposite corners of the boxes so that we'll get a good grip. Rollers and drums, a two-man stand or opposite side. Grasp the both chins near the high point and also up, and also while pressing down a bottom or straighten up with the drum. So if it is a drum, what will happen? We use from the top, we used to take the bend and then we used to carry the one place to other place. Drum ela chestam. In case one drum carry chesటప్పుడు we always try to bend a drum or to shift, or else we use a trolley to grasp the load. అంటే ఒక సైడ్ కి ఇలా బెండ్ చేసి ట్రాలీ మీద పెట్టుకొని తీసుకెళ్ళాలి. The sheet metal, handle with a leather gloves and also hand leather or gloves. Hand leather means arm guards or hand sleeves అని చెప్తుంటారు. While handling sheet metal, we use leather gloves and also hand sleeves or hand gloves with a metal insets because of sharp edges and also corners. Then sheet of glass, handle with the gloves and also hand leather. Hand leather అంటే ఏంటంటే మనం ఏం చెప్పొచ్చు, హ్యాండ్ స్లీవ్స్ అని చెప్పొచ్చు. దెన్ లాంగ్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ అంటే పొడవాటి వస్తువులు, లాంగ్ పైప్స్, bar stalks or lumber should be carried over shoulders with the front end held or also high as possible to prevent the striking. ఏవైతే లెంతీ ఉన్న ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ ని ఎలా చేస్తామంటే షోల్డర్స్ పైన కొంచెం ఎత్తులో పెట్టుకొని చేస్తాము, ఏమైనా వాటికి తగలకుండా. దెన్ మెటల్ స్క్రాప్, ఏదైతే మనకి ఇనుపు స్క్రాప్ ఏమైనా ఉందో, వేర్ గాబల్స్, గ్లౌజ్ అండ్ ఆల్సో హ్యాండ్ లెదర్స్, సేఫ్టీ షూస్ అండ్ ఆల్సో స్కిన్ గార్డ్స్. సో దీస్ ఆర్ ది పీపీఎస్. అంటే మనము ఎప్పుడైనా స్క్రాప్ హ్యాండిల్ చేసినప్పుడు లెదర్ హ్యాండ్ గ్లౌజ్ కానీ, సేఫ్టీ షూస్ కానీ, స్కిన్ గార్డ్స్ కానీ, తర్వాత గాగుల్స్, వీటన్నిటిని యూజ్ చేసి లిఫ్ట్ చేయాలి. Then says use of accessories for the manual handling like hooks. I can give an example of cement bags where they use these hooks for handling of cement bags. A danger of sideways of the hard objects when carrying it in a belt, and the point should be covered, and also the sharp points necessary for the handling of bags, logs or crates, boxes, etc. should be protected. Whenever you are using any hooks on any belt, so basically the hooks will be very sharp enough. Some of the hooks, apart from the lifting hooks, those hooks must be protected. ఏవైనా మనము హుక్కులు యూజ్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు మెటీరియల్ హ్యాండిల్ చేయడానికి వాటి యొక్క హుక్కుల యొక్క ఎడ్జెస్ ని మనం ప్రొటెక్ట్ చేసి పెట్టుకోవాలి, లేదంటే అవి మనకి బ్యాగులు కానీ బెల్ట్లు కానీ చినిగిపోయే అవకాశం ఉంటుంది. క్రోబార్, మెయిన్ hazard is slipping. Point or edge should be a good bite and proper position of hand and also body to minimize chance of hand pinching or a worker falling if a bar slips. Never work. A stride or a crowbar, when not in use, keep in the rack. Crowbar in the sense, this crowbar will be used like this. It will be, I think, two teeth will be there. Like this, it will be. I think other side some sharp edge will be there. This they use for the removing of shuttering materials, removing of nails, removing of wooden shuttering material. So here the major hazard is slippery, because heavy load, it may be a chance of slippery. So there we have to avoid proper grip should be there, and we have to avoid any oily surface on the crowbar. Then rollers, like any circular rollers kind of material. Heavy or bulky objects are often moved on the rollers. Main hazard in the fingers or toes getting pinched or crushed between the rollers. I'm sorry, here the rollers in the sense, these rollers have been used for the shifting of materials, or even in the villages also we used to see, if you are shifting any heavy material, they used to put this wooden pieces. ఎక్కడైతే మనకి పెద్ద పెద్ద కర్రలు పెట్టి దీనిపైన మెటీరియల్ పెట్టి దాన్ని నెడుతూ ఉంటారు. సో దట్ ఏంటంటే ఈ మెటీరియల్ పైన అది జారిపోతూ ముందుకు వెళ్తూ ఉంటుంది. దిస్ ఇస్ హౌ దే యూస్ ద రోలర్స్. రోలర్స్ యూస్ చేసి హెవీ మెటీరియల్స్ ని ముందుకి తీసుకెళ్తాం. Here the hazard is getting pinched or crushed between the roller and the floor or roller on the object. When the direction of the roller is changed, to move the roller under the load, use the sledge or a bar, never hand or foot. Major ఏంటంటే ఈ రెండింటికి మధ్యలో మనకి కాళ్ళు పడే ఛాన్స్ ఉంటుంది. In case if you want to change the direction, you have to change direction by using any bar, not with the hands or not with the legs. And other trucks, we used to use this small kind of trucks. Hand pallet trucks are for the shifting of material. There are mostly a 4-wheeler or 3-wheeler type. If you see for such kind of trolleys, if you're using the knuckle guards to protect the jamming of the hands against the door frames or other obstructions. మనకి ఏంటంటే ఒక్కోసారి ఈ ఏవైతే గార్డ్స్ ఎక్స్ట్రా గార్డ్స్ ఉన్నాయో ఇవన్నీ మనకి డోర్ హ్యాండ్స్ దగ్గర ఇరుక్కుపోయే ఛాన్స్ ఉంటుంది. సో అదొకటి మనం చూసుకోవాలి. Wheel should be under the truck if possible to save the injuries to the toes or feet, and wheel guards are preferred. సో ఏవైతే మనకి చక్రాలు ఉన్నాయో ఈ చక్రాలు ఎప్పుడు కూడా మనకి దీని కింద ఉన్నది. కొంతమంది చక్రాలు మనకి బయటకి పెట్టేసి ఉంచుతారు, So అది మనకి సేఫ్ కాదు. Provide brakes to avoid the holding to the truck with a foot or in a wheel or axle. So we should able to provide a wheel brake so that they need not to stop the vehicle with their safety shoes. People used to put the safety shoes or they used to keep their leg to avoid the movement of the truck in a slope area. So we should provide a wheel brakes so that we need not to put our legs to stop the vehicle. Inspect daily and also keep it in a good repair. So రోజు ఇన్స్పెక్ట్ చేసుకోవడము, మంచి కండిషన్ లో పెట్టుకోవడము. And no truck is in a right for the handling of all types of metal. Select the appropriate one. So ప్రతి ట్రక్ కూడా అన్ని రకాలైన మెటీరియల్ ని లిఫ్ట్ చేయడానికి ఉపయోగపడదు. So that we have to choose a suitable truck. And loaders should be keep their feet clear of the wheels, and load should be so placed that will not shift, fall, or off, or block a clear view of it. See, ఎవరైతే లోడ్ చేస్తున్నారో they should be away from the wheels or చక్రాల నుంచి దూరంగా ఉండి లోడ్ చేయడము. And they should be so placed that it will not shift. Whatever the material they have loaded, they should ensure that it is not going to shift from the position and also fall off. It should not fall down, and also it should not block the vision. అంటే మనకి పక్కకు పడిపోకుండా ఉండాలి. దాంతో పాటుగా ఎవరైతే ఈ ట్రక్ ని తీసుకెళ్తున్నారో వాళ్ళకి వ్యూ అనేది ఉండాలి. అంటే వాళ్ళకి కనుచూపు కనబడుతూ ఉండాలి, మెటీరియల్ వాళ్ళకి పెట్టి అడ్డం చేయకూడదు. And two-wheelers, a center of gravity of the load should be placed well forward. So in case we are having a two-wheeler truck or two-wheel truck, దానికి మనం center of gravity అంటే బ్యాలెన్స్ చేసి పెట్టాలి, పడిపోకండి. Four-wheeler should be pushed or not pulled. So in case of any 4 చక్రాల బండి అయితే instead of pulling, it is pushing is always better, so that we can use our body weight and we can push the load. Avoid collisions, especially at the blind corners. Use the mirrors at the corners. So mirrors at the corners అంటే కాన్వెక్స్ మిర్రర్స్. ఎక్కడైతే మనకి బ్లైండ్ స్పాట్స్ ఉంటాయి, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ మనకి షాప్ ఫ్లోర్ లో ఇలా రోడ్స్ ఉండొచ్చు. సో సడన్ గా ఇలా వెళ్తాము, ఇది ఒక పాత్వే, ఇలా ఒక స్ట్రైట్ గా. సో ఇక్కడ మనకి ఈ బ్లైండ్ స్పాట్ అనేది ఉంటుంది. సో ఇక్కడ మనం ఒక కాన్వెక్స్ మిర్రర్ పెట్టుకున్నాము అంటే ఈ కార్నర్ లో, so that whoever is coming this way, he can able to see the people. Hand trolleys. So these are the cover the floor holes and also move the bumps and also make it even to prevent the trolley from the jumping. So these trolleys will face a major issue with the floor conditions. If the floor condition is not good, these trolleys will be difficult to handle. And provide rubber tires on the wheels to minimize the noise and also damage to the flooring. Some of them they use the metal wheels. ఏంటంటే రబ్బర్ వీల్స్ కాకుండా ఇనుప చక్రాలు పెట్టుంటారు, అవి మనకి హెవీ నాయిస్ ని క్రియేట్ చేస్తూ ఉంటాయి. సో రబ్బర్ వీల్స్ అనేవి బెస్ట్ అన్నమాట. లేదంటే హై డెన్సిటీ పాలిమర్ అనేది వస్తాయి, పీవీసీ వీల్స్ అని వస్తాయి, హెచ్డిపిఈ వీల్స్ అని వస్తుంటాయి చక్రాలు. Those wheels should be preferred. The load should be evenly distributed to prevent the tilting. So ఏవైతే ట్రాలీస్ ఉన్నాయో, the load should be properly kept on trolley in such a way that it should not get tilt. And do not overload trolley, it is unsafe. We should not overload the trolley, otherwise what will happen, it may damage or it may get tilted or the wheels get damaged. Secure the trolley with the ropes and stay blocks, etc. whenever is necessary. So whenever the trolley is loaded, you should put secure the load or to protect the load. అంటే ఏదైతే బరువులు పెట్టారో దాన్ని కాళ్ళతోటి కట్టి పెట్టాలి. Or secure blocks. So secure blocks అంటే మనకి ఈ వెహికల్స్ కి మన వీల్స్ చోపు పెట్టినట్టుగా ఏదైనా రొటేటింగ్ పార్ట్ అంటే సర్క్యులర్ షేప్ ఉన్న, సిలిండ్రికల్ షేప్ ఉన్న ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ వేరే ఉన్న క్యారీ చేస్తుంటే వాటికి చిన్న ఒక చెక్క ముక్క లాంటిది పెట్టాలి, రోల్ అవ్వకుండా. While going on a slope, pull up the trolley, and also while going down to the slope, push down the trolley. So while going up on the slope, pull up. ఎప్పుడైతే మనకి స్లోప్ లోకి వెళ్తున్నామో దాన్ని పుల్ అప్ చేసుకుంటూ వెళ్ళాలి. when you're going downward we have to push that. A trolley handle should be held at the front and not at the sides to avoid the knuckles getting bruised due to the contact with the walls or the machines. In the sense, ఏవైతే ట్రాలీస్ పోతాయో వీటికి హ్యాండిల్స్ అనేవి ఫ్రంట్ సైడ్ మాత్రమే పెట్టుకోవాలి. సైడ్ వేస్ పెట్టడం వల్ల మనకి మిషన్స్ కానీ సైడ్ డోర్స్ కానీ వాల్స్ కానీ టచ్ అయ్యి డ్యామేజ్ అయ్యే ఛాన్స్ ఉంటుంది. Pathway should be clearly marked in a whitened or colored lines and park the trolleys in such a way that do not obstruct the passages. So ఏదైతే మెటీరియల్ మూవ్మెంట్ వెహికల్ ఉందో ఆర్ మెటీరియల్ మూవ్మెంట్ ప్లేస్ ఉందో దాన్ని మనము మార్క్ తోటి ఎల్లో కలర్, వైట్ అండ్ ఎల్లో కలర్ మార్కింగ్ చేసుకోవాలి. సో దట్ ఏంటంటే మనుషులు ఆ దారిలో నడవకుండా ఉండడానికి. దాంతో పాటుగా park the trolleys in such a way that it should not obstruct the passageways. సో ఎప్పుడైతే మనం ట్రక్ ని యూజ్ చేసుకున్న తర్వాత, ట్రాలీని యూజ్ చేసుకున్న తర్వాత ఇట్ షుడ్ బి ఇన్ ఏ సచ్ ఏ ప్లేస్ దట్ ఇట్ షుడ్ బి kept away from the passageways. Now we'll see the gas cylinders. This is one of the material how it can be handled. Cylinders may not be rolled or on the bottom edge but never dragged. So you can roll at the bottom edge. You should not drag the cylinder. అంటే సిలిండర్ మనం కింద ఏదైతే టిప్ ఉందో దాని మీద మనము రోల్ చేయొచ్చు, బట్ వీ షుడ్ నాట్ డ్రాగ్ ది సిలిండర్. Carry the cylinder in a cradle or in a suitable type of a carrying device. అంటే ఒక సూటబుల్ ట్రాలీలో మనము తీసుకెళ్తాము. Do not permit them to strike each other violently and tie vertically cylinder. సో ఎప్పుడు కూడా సిలిండర్ని ఒకదానికొకటి తగులుకునేలా చేయొచ్చు. We should not allow the cylinders to strike against each. And also we should tie the cylinders in a vertical manner with a chain or a suitable rope to avoid the accidents. While ripping the empty cylinders or when not in use, close the valve and replace the valve protection cap. If you are not using it, you should close the valve and place the valve protection cap back. Then always consider cylinders full and also handle them with care, and do not store gas cylinders in a sun or any excess heat. So we should always consider that, always feel that the cylinder is full. We should not say that okay, it is being an empty, I can handle it any time or any way. No, we always consider that the cylinder is always full. And also we should not store the cylinders in a direct sunlight and also direct heat. Now we'll see some of the safety precautions with respect to stacking and unstacking. అంటే ఎత్తులు ఒకదాని మీద ఒక పెట్టేటప్పుడు అన్స్టాకింగ్ అంటే మెటీరియల్ని అన్లోడ్ చేయడానికి కావాల్సిన సేఫ్టీ ప్రికాషన్స్. A neat and orderly stacking or unstacking minimize the hazards. So whenever you are stacking the material properly, what will happen? It can minimize the hazards and అక్కడ ఉండే ప్రమాదాన్ని తగ్గించే అవకాశం ఉంది. A material piled haphazardly increases the accidents and also damage to materials. It means if you are keeping the materials here and there, what will happen? It will have chance to increase the accidents and also damage the material. The planned material, a planned material storage, which will reduce the time to bring the raw materials into the production and also remove the finished products from the production. If you have a proper storage, what will happen? It can avoid the wastage of the time. Then a warehouse supervisor should direct and also a proper stacking and unstacking. If wherever there is a person or people, a supervisor has to ensure that the people or the workers you have used for the stacking of material properly, adequate ceiling clearance under the sprinklers. We should have a proper ceiling clearance. We should not keep so close to the ceiling, or we should give proper space, at least minimum 1 meter from the sprinklers, so that in case of any fire accident, the sprinklers can able to extinguish. And side clearance to keep the free and also clear the electrical panel boxes, switches, and also other controls, and unobstructed access to a fire hoses and extinguishers must be maintained. So it is simple that you have to maintain some space between the side walls. So always, if you see all the material which will be, or the electrical panels or switchboards which is on the wall side, so we should maintain a proper distance between the side walls for the proper access for the in case of any fire incident, and also to access with the electrical equipments. And all the exits and aisles should be kept clear. So ఏవైతే exits or aisles means pathways ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో వాటన్నింటిని కూడాను క్లియర్ గా పెట్టుకోవాలి. Aisle which should be always for the turning radius of the any power truck to be used. So if you're using any aisles, so the truck, whatever the truck which you are using, it should able to move, or it should able to take the radius. The aisle path should be clear. And these areas must be marked and also painted with the lines. So whatever the aisles are there, those must be properly marked and also painted, so that people or the truck drivers can have proper visibility. A height indicating line should be painted on wall, so for the maximum limit or the stacking. So the maximum limit, we can see that, for example, if you say a maximum height, if it is this is in a building, you can consider this is your roof area. So I'll put a limit. This is the limit 1, and this is the limit 2. Here I put a red color line. This is the maximum limit. So the material can be stored up to this height only. So this is the maximum height they can able to store the material. So here I'll put a line, red color line, with a writing that are the maximum stacking height, so that it is easy for the operators or truck drivers to store the material. And incompatibility should be checked. What is meant by incompatibility?
Size of the rack, sir. Size of the rack should be, whenever you're putting your size of the material, it should be fitted in that particular rack.
Okay. And that is the one way of telling, yeah, compatible, or the material should be possible. And incompatibility, we can say another way for the chemicals also. We will tell that which are the chemicals can be stored together. And toxic metals should not be stacked with the flammable materials. That's where the compatibility will comes in. So wherever the toxic metals, we should not keep with the flammables, because in case of the flammables caught fire, so the toxin also will chance to get involved in that fire. It is leads to a secondary hazard. And proper and sufficient firefighting arrangement should be provided in and around the storage. It is also important that we should keep a proper firefighting arrangement like fire extinguishers, sprinklers, fire hydrants, etc., to keep it nearby, so that we can able to handle the fire in case of any fire incidents. Okay, we have another 2 minutes. If you have any questions, we can discuss.
Nothing from my side, sir.
Yeah, thank you, brother. What about others? No, this regarding the stacking height of the materials, it will be different based on the site to site, based on the infrastructure. So it's all about what kind of facilities you are having. Like you are doing with the manual material handling, or you are having any mechanical aids for the lifting or shifting of the materials. Even there are places they used to keep maximum 5 to 6 feet or 10 feet of material, or there are racks which are there around 6 meters or 7 meters or 8 meters. If you see any warehouses, so it is up to the internal infrastructure what you are having.